from the tunnel to the floor of the big house, and the chant right now is free Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh is free. He returns to the sideline next Saturday in the Big Ten championship game in Indy, live on Fox. Iowa will take on Michigan for the Big Ten championship game. We welcome you back to the post-game show. Charles, let's start with you. Where did the Wolverines win this edition of the game?
You know what? They won it during the week, I would say. And I wasn't at practice, so I don't know how they practiced, but I know they won it during the week. I told you guys that I got a chance to go into the locker or to Schembechler Hall and talk to the defense on Friday night. But before I talked, Mikey Sainristil still talked. And so I got to listen to him, and I got to listen to his words about what he planned to do during this game. And I got to tell you what, I got to give him so much props because they started this game with Will Johnson shadowing Marvin Harrison Jr. Will Johnson got hurt. Will Johnson's out of the game. You know who followed Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Mikey
Sainristil still. He told his team, he said, look at me. If you're looking for the leader on this team, if you're looking for somebody that's going to stand on business, if you're looking for somebody that's going to make plays, look at me. And he stepped up to the challenge. That wasn't his job going into the game. But he said, don't worry about it, guys. You can count on me. I'll get it done. Man, I love that dude so much, man.
I'll tell you, incredible history of this rivalry. This is going to go up there one of the top. Yeah. This is instant classic. This will forever be shown because the ebbs and flows of the game. Third quarter, the stadium was silent. Ohio State seized the moment, running the ball, doing what the Wolverines did. Right down their throat, scored. Death silent in the stadium. Momentum switched, and what happened? The resiliency and toughness of the Wolverines came back. Bang, bang, 2 straight drives. It's over. Game, set, match. So instant classic. Great football game. I'll tell you, resiliency and toughness, Wolverines showed a lot in the second half.
Here's the difference in the game for me. Sharon Moore, interim head coach, won this game. He won it by the way he called this game. He was aggressive, going for it on 4th downs. The creativity. When Michigan had their moments to take control and get momentum of this game, they took advantage of that. Ryan Day did not. He called this a much more conservative game as a head coach in this one. So credit Sharon Moore, his staff, his team. The last thing I'll say, Zach Zenner, young man, we're all praying for you.
Yeah, man.
That's a devastating injury. That young man came back to have a shot at winning a Big Ten championship and a national championship. So I pray and hope that he's going to be okay. He's got a bright future.
You know, when he got hurt, this whole place flipped. Yeah. The stadium rallied behind him, the players went out there, and the whole thing flipped.
And that's going to be the story, I think, of this Michigan team this season. The way they've rallied around each other the entire season. It's galvanized this team, and it's building into something really special.
And you know I'm a running back, so I love the running game. 21 times in a row before this game started, the team who won the rushing battle won the game. And now that makes it 22. And that's your boy, Deuce Deuce. 22 times. The team who wins the run battle wins the game. And I'm telling you, it was a tough, gritty performance. Shout out to Blake Coleman. The performance he showed today, it embodied the type of runner he is. That was some tough, nitty, gritty yards. There was nothing given to him by the Ohio State defense, but they kept running the ball. They kept being persistent. And what do you know? After the tough injury, this place was quiet. And Blake Corum pops one out the back door, 22-yard touchdown. So that was an immaculate performance by the entire offensive unit to run the football, coupled with J.J. McCarthy and his ability to make the plays necessary to win the game, using his arm and also his legs. So that's why Michigan won the game today.
34 rushing yards first half, 124 in the second half. And those drives, you mentioned the drives, the 7-play, 75-yard drive, and the one that just took the soul out of Ohio State. 13 plays, 7 minutes to seal the game. That's what they do. They impose their will, they grind you, they grind you, they grind you for 4 quarters, and then their defense came up with the big play at the end.
Seawood, where do we get those shades, by the way, huh?
Hey, man, I need to get you a pair of these turnover buffs for next week for you.
Here's a look at the numbers from the last 3 meetings between these 2 storied programs, and the winningest program in college football history in Michigan, getting their 1,001st victory, outscoring Ohio State 39 to essentially 25 points. Moments ago, Ryan Day at the podium. Ooh.
Yeah, I try to keep, what we talk about in the locker room to ourselves, but we're all disappointed. We know that what this game means to so many people, and so to come up short is certainly crushing, not only just because you invest your whole year in it. We know at Ohio State what this game means. And so, there's a locker room in there that's devastated. And, It wasn't a lack of effort, but again, we didn't win the rushing yards, we didn't win the turnover battle, so you're not going to win a game.
Is it possible to switch the ball?
Ryan Day now 1-3 all-time versus Michigan, but you look at that number at the bottom, 54-1 in all games coached, not against Michigan or in the college football playoff. Coach, I know you never lost to Michigan, 7-0 all-time as head coach of the Buckeyes, but Ryan Day has now lost 3 straight games. We talked in the pregame on Big Noon Kickoff about some of the heat he was under back in Columbus. You heard his words, you saw his tone, you saw his look walking up the tunnel. What is Ryan Day going through right now? And is he really under fire, legitimately under fire back in Columbus?
No, he's not under. As far as job security,
right.
No, he's not. Reality, is he under fire? Yeah, he is. Lives in Columbus, Ohio, and it's the Ohio State head football coach. And that's real, and you just feel for the families, you feel for Ryan Day's family, but it's a big boy business. Yep. He's a big boy, he'll handle it, come back, and you know what? Go back in January, get back to work, find a way to beat the Wolverines. That's your whole focus. But I'll tell you what, in the other locker room, talk about Sharon Moore for a minute. His team today, had 3 penalties and no turnovers. Think about that for a minute. Now, the Buckeyes only had 1 penalty, but they had 2 turnovers. Right. And that's the difference in the game. That was a well-coached team, the Wolverines today. They made very little mistakes in a rugged football game. Give Sharon Moore a lot of credit, man.
Coach, we talk a lot of times these big rivalry games. It comes down to the team that doesn't not necessarily win the game, but doesn't lose the game. The turnovers ended up being the difference. Exactly. I'd be remiss if I didn't say this, though. Marvin Harrison Jr., young man, it was our pleasure to watch you. He's an incredible talent. I don't know that we'll get a chance to see him play another college football game, but this is a group that's a special, talented group for Ohio State. A lot of them move on. I think that's the toughest thing for Ryan Day and this group moving forward is how they replenish this talented group that will end up moving on to play on Sundays.
Harrison, his school record 15th 100-yard receiving game today.
Well, I wanted to ask Coach, too. You talked about in the pregame show that this Ohio State team it felt better equipped, and they played their butts off today. But, Coach, just moving forward, how do you continue to build this team? Because Ohio State has done extremely well in Ryan Day against everybody else but Michigan. What are the pieces that you see for them moving forward? What do they need to do?
I think just up front, they got to continue to get better. There was a time where Ohio State dominated the line of scrimmage against Wolverines. That's changed. So you got to give credit where credit's due. Joe Moore Award winners 2 years in a row, and then this outfit today, they've dominated the line of scrimmage. Again, it's 22 years in a row now, 156 yards rushing to 107. You got to give them credit. I think to answer your question, keep building the offensive line the way it used to be.
Yeah, I think for me, I don't think you can say enough about Sharon Moore and him stepping into this role. Right. And I think you talk about his play calling, talking about the 4th and 1s that he went for with the halfback pass. Yes. I think that was the most timely play for this game today. Right.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoy that clip, make sure you click subscribe somewhere down here. From game highlights to exclusive interviews and rankings, we've got everything you need as a college football fan right here, College Football on Fox.